to our study in God's Word. Hebrews 11 lists the life examples of the heroes of faith from the Old Testament. And we have been walking through this chapter looking at these heroes one by one. In our last study, we looked at Enoch, and he had this testimony that he pleased God. As a matter of fact, Enoch pleased God so much that he didn't experience physical death, but God took him to heaven directly without having died. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6 says, without faith it's impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he's a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him. We must live by faith, daily making God the center of our lives and seeking him in the big things and the small things, and knowing that he rewards those who come to him in faith. Today we come to Noah. First, let's look back at the very first verse in of Hebrews chapter 1. Now faith is the confidence in what we hope for, the assurance about what we do not see. This, of course, is the definition of faith. And the way faith operates is in the realm of the unseen. Jesus said, when you pray for something, believe that you already have received it. That's past tense. And it will be given to you. That's future tense. So we come with the confidence that we have already received, even though we don't see it yet. Faith is confidence and assurance about what we do not see. This example that we see of Noah is a man who does exactly this. He believes even though he can't see. Here's what Hebrews chapter 11 verse 7a says. By faith Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear he built an ark to save his family. What was it that he could not see yet? Well, a flood that God had warned was coming. He couldn't see yet a massive ship to be built. And the judgment God warned was coming was not seen yet. So of course people around Noah, they thought, I still have time. I'm going to live however I want. That guy, he's crazy. But Noah listened to the warning of the Lord. That's why the story of Noah is more than just a story of God's judgment. It's about God looking for a person who is willing to obey him, even if all of his questions are not answered. God was looking for a person who would not let looking foolish in the eyes of the world stop him from walking in obedience. And Noah was that person. Things not yet seen did not stop him because he was a man of faith. The Noah story begins in the Old Testament in Genesis chapter 6 verse 8, where it says, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Noah found favor in God's eyes. And people of faith are those who open themselves up to receive God's favor. Noah was righteous in a very unrighteous world. He had a heart that wanted to serve God. And if that's what you desire, know this, that God can impart to you the gift of faith instantly to operate in some amazing ways. Don't believe that the gift of faith is just for other people and not you. And Genesis chapter 6 verse 22 says, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Very often it's difficult for us to obey what God is telling us to do, to obey God's word when we don't have answers to a lot of our questions. That's part of the realm of the unseen, though. And Noah couldn't see, but he obeyed the Lord anyway. I know people who are stepping out and taking risks. They're starting new ventures because they believe that the Lord has asked them to do it. There are others who are going to parts of the world that have never been reached with the gospel of Jesus Christ. They obey not knowing what is going to happen. They obey when they don't have all the answers to their questions about what will happen to them or to their family. But they obey the word of the Lord. And this is what it means to live by faith. You know, it's easy to be critical of others when they live this way, especially when you're not walking by faith yourself. Critical people are not faith people. And Noah did everything just as the Lord commanded him. Let's look at Hebrews 11:7b. 11:7b. By his faith he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness that is in keeping with faith. That's the life of Noah. We don't really know how long it took for Noah to build the ark. Some scholars believe it could be as short as 20 years. Others say perhaps 100. However long it took, it was plenty of time to have questions and doubts. Noah had never seen anything like a flood before, or physical evidence that a flood was coming. But Noah chose to trust God, even though it must have looked foolish to the world around him. He didn't expect people to understand what he was doing, but he knew he was obeying God, and he was living by what he could not see. He was living by faith, and Noah became an heir of the righteousness that comes by faith. An heir is a son or daughter who receives a possession because of their right as being a son or daughter. Noah was an heir of God's righteousness because of his faith and obedience to God's will. He believed the Lord for a better life in God's kingdom even though he couldn't see it. And Noah's inheritance is the victorious reward that God intends for us through faith in Jesus Christ. May we live by faith and be commended by the Lord for our obedience like these heroes of faith. God bless you until our next time together.